Tramantin recently left government. He announced his GTB program. He said that he believes that there are things that government could have done better. Does that make him NDC?
Not at all.
He said that there were things that the government didn't see that he will come and change. Does that make him NDC?
Not at all.
A Greek minister, he's been saying same. Kwabena Jepong, he's been saying these are thoroughbred NPP people. So how is it that when we say it, and the president even acknowledges that there are crises, suddenly we are anti-party? It doesn't make sense. Anybody who thinks like that is infantile. Finish. Because if that were not the case, you would have actually seen Alan Tremantin wants to be president, Dr. Baumia who wants to be president, a Greek minister, former Greek who wants to be president, Kennedy Japan said anybody who takes you to the IMF has failed and they can't lead you. You would look at all of them as NPP people to be suddenly people who have been paid by NDC to do whatever. So if you can't look at them like that and you look at us like that, why do you, sir?
You see, so if I were speaking, what I would say is that they are entitled to their opinion, so that it doesn't appear as if what they are saying we are against or we are for. We make our points, they color us,
but we too, we have
to come with their color.
We have an opinion. When
exactly.
Somebody gives somebody puts it, because what they're doing is, I'm saying that if what we are saying had not been said before, that's a different matter. But what we are saying has been said before, all right? And even in much more plainer words.
So whatever it is.
So when we say it and then you put no, I have no.
I wouldn't throw.
I have no doubt.
I mean, that's where the fight or the banter was. Because if you call me,
yes,
and you're making your point, and I said it's your opinion, so be it.
Like I allowed Frederick the other time.
No.
The first time I allowed him, and the second time
I allow him all the time.
No, I can't allow him. You see, the point is that I can't allow you to misinform my audience.
Well,
because you will just call in for 3 minutes and go. But the audience are with me every day for 4 hours.
We'll drop the facts. Okay. We are in a position to drop the facts.
Should I play you? Should I play your tape?
No.
I should not play your tape. No. Enjoy.
Today your tips.
William, enjoy this tape. I'm playing for Issa Husseini and play.
Did I hear you right? You said size of the government? Well, I only can compare and with other countries like my own, and I can just come to the conclusion that there's a huge number of the number is much higher.
It's Bigo! With Bigo, no wahala for the occasion. They made it for everyone to enjoy and have the ideal celebration. Bigo, the soft drinks that comes in 16 and 20 in a pack. Hey, Charlie, that is Bigo. A lot to go around in various packs. It's refreshing and good quality. Now that is Bigo. The taste is Bigo. Another quality product from Twillium Industries Limited. This advert is FDA approved.
Bigo. I woke up like this. I couldn't show my face to anyone without makeup. Even with makeup. Because of acne. And then I found the Forever Clear Acne Control Set.
The Forever Clear Acne Control Set deep cleanses pores, kills spots-causing bacteria, and gently dries out acne and washes away excess oil and trapped dirt.
So every day, I use the acne soap or the acne wash and the acne gel.
Let's go.
And I always moisturize my face to retain the goodness.
Forever Clear, caring for tomorrow's beauty needs today.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Well, I think the government has taken the right steps, has reached out very actively. I don't see anything that anybody else could have done better. It is really at this point of time, it is really the question on how to convince particular China to come to the table. That is the key question right now. Because all the others, I mean, the Paris Club members have agreed, they are ready, but again, they are not willing to to lower the request to Ghana, and with this financing the debts of China. I mean, must be understandable for everybody. So we are ready to negotiate, but only if all the other creditors are willing, are taking up their responsibility in the same way.
3FM Sunrise. 3FM Sunrise. Start your day with Sunrise on 92.7 3FM. 3FM. 3FM Sunrise. Sunrise. I don't put banana in this book, not far away with you. No care said, I don't hear sun yet. 3FM Sunrise. I don't put banana in this way, not far away with you. No care said, I don't hear sun yet. 3FM Sunrise. I'm banana into me soup. I miss me here. Sunrise. 92.7 3FM. 3FM Sunrise. 3FM. Sunrise. Three FM 92.7 is 40 minutes after 8 on your dial. And share your morning with us, start your morning with us. Always, always, always. Join us on WhatsApp. And the WhatsApp number is 055-005-2927. Again, 055-005-2927. One more time, 055-005-2927. Yeah, and we're getting into a conversation shortly with the Honorable Isaf Husseini, as a former member of parliament for the Okaikwe North electoral area, and also Comrade Murtala Mohammed. He doesn't like the honorable title, even though the people have given. Yeah,
I'm a patriot.
Yeah, patriot.
Inusa Fuseni.
Oh.
Fuseni Isa.
Inusa Fuseni is
Okay.
is a comrade. Mine is Fuseni Issa. I'm a patriot.
Say again.
Who's not a patriot in this country?
I'm not shouting.
You can
I said, who's not a
you
patriot
can
in this?
decide. You can decide on which.
He can decide to pick what he
You
wants.
have decided to use comrade.
So you
I am
are-
saying I'm a patriot.
Patriots, they are
what
plunging this nation to serious economic.
Isa Fuseni. Patriot. Patriot Fuseni Isa.
That's it.
Former MP for Okaikwe North.
Certainly.
Yes, you like that one. And
you're
then
right, it's spot
Comrade Murtala Mohammed, MP for Tamale Central.
And former
Finish.
MP for
Nanton.
Nanton.
He's back in time.
Good to have you, big brothers. And William Asiedu of Current Memory is also here in flesh and blood. Let's begin from Parliament. The vetting, so far so good. You sat where William is sitting, Honorable, the other time, and you said that you think that the two gentlemen are complex individuals and that they may not be able to work together. Honorable Apiakubi says, let's pray for them. Titus Glover says, I wish them well. Are you still in
Honorable
your...
Apia Kuban here, he said we
Yes,
should pray
you
for
should
them.
pray for them, the two
And
of them.
that says, you remember on that, they never challenge
yes,
the statement I
we
made.
wish them well.
Well, our position is that we are not going to approve them.
What are you doing
As
at
far
the
as
vetting table
we are
then?
going to vote against it, and per the standing orders, once a nominee's, approval is by majority decision, such a nominee's approval will be subjected to debate at plenary and possible voting, because once it is brought, if it is by consensus, then you only voice vote. But if it is by majority decision, you engage in the debate and then you do the voice vote first. If you challenge the voice vote, then you have to vote, through a secret ballot. And we are very convinced that our 136 members, inshallah, will be voting against them. And per the information we are getting from some of our colleagues, it's just that these days it's difficult to trust them. The issue of the 90.
To trust your own people.
No, to trust your side of to trust your side of the
Not too
rules.
long ago, you lost a
Because
vote.
that's what I'm saying. On the issue of the censor motion, you remember when they had a press conference and they said that the minister
They've
should
lost
resign or
confidence
be
in
forced to
Kenoforiata.
jump.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when they were met, I remember I raised the same issue here, but by a private businessman. They told us a private businessman who met them and attempted to bribe them. As to whether they took the bribe or not is another matter. But it was strange that
Mr. Piakubi said they rejected them.
yeah, but that's how do I know?
brown envelope.
That was his word, and I'm not impugning any ill motive. But what I'm saying is that they told us. So we don't know whether the information they are giving us, once again, the private conversations we having with some of our colleagues who think that some of them are unfit to be ministers of state, and that the numbers are outrageous. I mean, the
We are
government.
divulging what is a private conversation on radio.
Oh, but is it a secret to say that we have spoken with some of them, but we haven't mentioned a specific name? If I mention a specific name, that's where you say that. But I'm saying that we are, because if I mention their names now, they'll call them out at the Flagstaff House. So who have given us that
To come and do what?
to come and answer why they want to get the people out. So we are very convinced about that. And on the issue of my good friend and my uncle, I think
Honorable
that I still
KTM.
maintain that I think that they are very complex individuals. I'm not questioning their ability to perform or to function as ministers and deputy ministers, but I'm saying that they are very complex.
But you have been
individuals.
at the trade ministry before.
Yes, and more so they
At this point,
Yes.
do we need people who are trade oriented?
absolutely.
Or we just need people to represent?
If I can
Not
say,
take anything away from them. KTM is a lawyer, long-standing,
Yeah.
good legislature. What do you call it? Sticker, Dr. Amoa,
The finance
is a
background.
finance person, PhD, is a lecturer.
no, I don't have any problem with anybody from a different discipline being asked to serve as a minister in another discipline. I mean, if we allow structures and institutions to work, a minister is just a political appointee. The actual work is done by the technical people. But the issue is that at a time when you have already 2 deputy ministers, you had 3 deputy ministers at the Ministry of Trade. You moved one, so one was expecting that you maintain the 2, except under this government. Since 1992, we've always had 1 or 2 deputy ministers at the Ministry of Trade. And it is understandable because the ministry is divided into 2. Trade and industries. So there were a lot of conflicts. I still have some information at the ministry. There were some conflicts between and among the deputy ministers, who is handling what. So one was expecting that this was an opportunity. And my proposal was that the president could have elevated one of the deputy ministers to be a minister of trade and even to more so the experience. A lot of government's program are under the Minister of Trade. The 1D1F is under the Minister of Trade. Industrialization is under the Minister of Trade. The well made in Ghana goods consumption, Minister of Trade.
President Murtala Mohammed making his appointment.
You send people there who are coming to learn on the job.
President Murtala Mohammed making his appointment.
Oh, why? Don't I have the right to speak in the democratic space?
I wanted to find out why your group sat through the vetting when you knew you were going to vote.
I asked that question.
Yes, we need.
I asked you that question.
We need to sat in the vetting because one, if we do not sit in the we need to sit in the vetting. If we do not sit in the vetting, then the approval will be that by consensus. You remember in 2013, when the NDC won the elections, the NPP said they were not going to participate in the appointment. So the NDC constituted members of parliament, constituted the committee. Now, when you constitute the committee, and the approval of the nominees were by consensus. So if someone is approved by consensus, when you come to plenary, you cannot be demanding that you should vote. No, it's just a voice.
So technically, what we are saying is that it's the individuals who sit that will decide. So
assuming that the committee sits, if the committee sits, and even one person, and one person dissents, assuming that let's say Honorable Katie Hamon's approval, and let's say 20-member committee, and 19 have all agreed that let's approve Katie Hammond, and one person said no, I disagree. The report will be that Katie Hammond was approved by majority decision. So anybody whose approval is by majority decision, when you come to plenary, you debate and vote, and the voting, if you want voting to be done, voting will be done through a secret ballot. But assuming that all the 20 people says let's approve him by consensus, like the Minister for Finance, what the committee
just
did,
goes through,
they approve him by consensus. When you come to plenary,
you know, a voice vote is also a voting.
I know, but the voice vote
and majority reports have come to plenary where it's been a voice vote and not gone to a secret vote.
Honorable Lisa, let's educate the people properly.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to.
Nobody said that voice vote is not a voice vote.
Right.
Yes.
But the difference between the two,
voice vote,
where it is by consensus. You don't go beyond the voice vote.
It goes to a secret ballot.
Allow him to finish.
I just want to
feed into enrich
the conversation.
It
goes to a secret ballot when somebody could tell after the voice vote.
Somebody
is
has
not
raised,
has raised an objection or some consent. That's why it goes to the secret ballot. It's not necessarily that because it's a majority vote.
It has to go through.
Don't mislead the people. You see, the difference is that where the person's approval is by majority decision, the moment you have a voice vote and then you don't see clarity, you go to vote.
That is it. You have a voice vote and you don't see clarity.
You even listen.
That now you are moving on.
But then if the voice vote comes, the Speaker of Parliament will then have to
the
chair will have to then make a determination.
No. You see, that's where
allow him to make his point.
That is where the difference is.
What is the difference?
Where you have by majority decision, and then the voice vote, the speaker thinks that the yay has it. And you challenge it, you go straight into voting through a secret ballot. But where it is by consensus, you challenge the voice vote, and the speaker can take the voice vote again. And the speaker can rule. Under that circumstance, if it is by consensus, if the speaker rules, you can't challenge it. Go and read the standing orders.
That is from the committee level.
Yes, no, if at the committee level it is by consensus, and you come and the voice vote, the speaker rules, that ends it. You remember
but then if there's an objection at the committee level,
that ends it. You remember on the issue of the Minister for Finance, I wish I brought the standing orders. You know, after the voice vote, some of us challenged it, and the speaker said no. That ended it. But with majority decision, the speaker cannot say no. Once your leadership rises and says that we want to take the count, then you have to do the voting through a secret ballot. If you go and read the standing orders on the matter of voting determined by consensus, there is nowhere that says that a voting should be done through a secret ballot. That is the reason why we had to participate. And I've just given you two examples. That on the issue of Ken Ofori-Atta, Even after the voice, the speaker said no, and nobody could question. Because there's nowhere in the standing orders that says that in the matter of someone's approval based on consensus, when the speaker gives his ruling on voice vote, you can challenge that. But on the issue of the majority decision,
so it was consensus on Kenneth Ofosu.
Yeah, it was. That was why I had problems with my good friend Honorable Okudzeto. You remember, I had problems with his position, my problem was that look, if you disagreed with the approval of Ken Ofori-Atta, you should have dissented. But once one person dissents, then it becomes approval by majority. So that is the reason why we had to participate in this. Another reason why we had to participate in this is once again to give justifications why we think that this government doesn't need, this president doesn't need to appoint more ministers.
But so far, have you done that?
Yeah, we have.
In terms
we
of
have pointed
the questioning.
out, absolutely, we have pointed out why we think that Minister of Trade, for example, you don't need 3 deputies. Why we have pointed out that they have raised issues about Minister of Agri and Trade. Our position, if you watch the vetting committee, was that look, the Minister of Fisheries and Agriculture could be combined. Get one minister to handle both ministries. Remember, the need for this government to reduce the number of appointees is not an exclusive position taken by the NDC. In fact, leading members of MPP in Parliament have also agreed that the size of government is too big. Show me one single civil society organization or one single person in academia who hasn't raised issues about the size of government. So it is not a position that is exclusive to the NDC. That is what many people in our history, and in fact, it is only President Nana Addo who has appointed more than 100 ministers. 120 plus was what he appointed in 2017.
He said he was in a hurry and that he had a man.
Well, what have they achieved? Zeal. I'm saying that even now,
but you can't say that.
It's zeal. Even before this appointment, you know, he has added more. You see, we have 86. President Mahama had 84 ministers. The 84 ministers included deputy regional ministers. Deputy regional ministers.
We don't have deputy regional ministers.
So if you take away the 10 deputy regional ministers at that time, President Mahama would have been talking around 74 ministers. But this one, even without the deputy,
take what?
Take away the deputy.
I didn't take them out.
So no, that's the point. I'm saying that even with
this government now in the second term, it doesn't have deputy regional ministers.
I'm saying that even with the deputy regional minister President Mahama had, he had 84 ministers. So I'm saying that if we were to take away the deputy ministers, as this government had done now, would have been 74. But this government, even without the deputy ministers, you have 86.
But he had 6 state ministers of state.
Are they ministers? Do you need a minister of state at the minister of local government? I mean, ridiculous.
As the minister of state at the finance minister.
Do you have a minister of state? Look, the minister of state and the minister of finances happen to be my teacher. Okay. I will be very intelligent, very sharp guy. But I still challenge that appointment. When you had Honorable Edu Boahene, I don't know whether he was asked to jump.
Dr. Edu Boahene.
Whether he was asked to jump.
What?
Dr. Edu Boahene. Charles Edu Boahene.
He's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor.
Yes. So I'm saying that
that was trumpeted over and over again to us.
But in this country, if you contest, if you contest assemblyman elections and you lost, you are honorable. That's why we think that honorable title is not even fashionable. So I'm saying that people were expecting that the Minister of Agric, you could combine them. Minister of Agric and Fishery could be one minister. Now you have three. I know what this government has done. For the first time, I don't know whether I call it a novelty or madness. You have deputy CEOs. I mean, it's ridiculous. Deputy CEOs. The point I made earlier, that when you asked about the appointment of KT Hammond, I said, look, if the institutions were to be allowed to work, I'm telling you, you don't need a lot of appointees. And President Mahama had publicly stated that he's not going to appoint more than 60 ministers. He stated it.
Okay.
Not more than 60. And for me, that is where we should go.
Let me ask, is that what you make of the vetting so far? Do we need the numbers? Are these the men? I should ask you.
When you ask what I make of the vetting, is it the process or the fact that
so far so good?
Some replacement ministers were.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Are these the men?
Are these the men?
Yes, at this time.
At this time.
Yes.
Johnny, it is not for nothing that a constitution gives the president a free hand to make as many appointments as he thinks he needs to help run the country. In the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, they did place an parliament on a number of ministers and cabinet, which is 19.
19.
But went on to give a free hand to the president that he should appoint minister. I mean, I'm just saying what the constitution.
It has a potential to hire and fire.
Hire and fire. The other provision is majority of who should come from parliament. So as a nation, I mean, our needs and our requirements at every point in time, it's not same. And the structure of ministries and governments that we have run from independence to date have not been same under every government. So depending on the structure, the government that you want to run, it goes to a far reach on the number of ministers and the ministries that you form and make appointments to. What we have seen from 2017, you recollect how the president did an expose of his appointees. I mean, for the first time, we had an opportunity, gave us reasons to which he had formed specific ministries and why he had made appointments. I mean, we all had the opportunity to see that.
He didn't repeat that in 2021.
He did repeat that. Perhaps it's a second term. It's a second term because it's a second term, and he had already he had a structure. He had a structure of which he had actually gone ahead to review. I mean, in 2017, we had the Zongo ministry. He had gone on to make it a secretariat. Now we had the development authorities.
Because Eugene told us that all the objectives of the
ministries and agencies that the president thought he needed in 2017, which, I mean, for where we are today, he thinks that, he can now bring them to the level of a secretariat.
There's a letter from Eugene Ahin, I remember in 2021, that said that all Zongo Development Ministry, special initiatives, all the ministries had achieved the reasons for which they were set, which is why now they are making them secretariat. But if I ask you how many dams there are for one village, one dam, if I ask you 1 million per constituency, if I ask you in your constituency where you were MP, if you had 1 million for 4 years, that's 4 million. Are you able to say that you received the money?
IPEP today has footprints in my constituency, I don't know
about IPEP.
Which I don't know how we could have gotten there.
I saw IPEP
you see,
toilet.
IPEP was initiated to ensure that the government were going to do projects that met the needs of the people at their very existing
point. You have
not
answered. Did you get
what it is today? Yes, I have very life-changing landmark projects within Okankwe.
Did you get 4 million?
Which were result of IPEP. There are places that roads had not been had not been motorable for ages, but through IPEP we were able to build some bridges. Today, when you drive towards La Paz and you get to on the N1, so you get to the Penkwan, look on your right, there is an astroturf that was a result of IPEP.
Okay.
There are drains within the constituency.
Did you get 1 million per constituency?
We had projects from IPEP.
No.
We had projects from IPEP. That was the reason why IPEP was set up.
My big brother.
And we had projects from IPEP to that
brother. You were MP from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 20.
Your constituency, they are listening or no?
Did you have $4 million dollars
in 2017? It took quite a time. It took quite a while for us to put in the structures to even put the coastal developments in place.
Did you get the money?
We have projects that have resulted
to the tune of 4 million
as a result of the vehicle that the president
to the
put
tune
in
of
place.
4 million Ghana cedis.
IPEP. We have infrastructure for poverty eradication projects.
Valued at what?
Those are there.
Valued at what?
Oh, I will give you the numbers if you
but
want.
But did you get, as an MP, did you get 4 million?
I have significant projects in the project as a result of IPEP.
What I want to know.
So at every point in time. At every point in time, the Constitution does give the president the right to form a government.
Right.
What has happened recently is that we've seen some exits from government, and the president, in his wisdom, thinks that it's necessary to be able to make appointments to replace them, and that's what we saw in Parliament. But then again, I keep saying that for the institution of Parliament to play its role in our development trajectory, I mean, we have decided to at this time practice democracy. And for the three arms of government to function properly, Parliament is also a very, very important institution in there. I find it very difficult every now and again when our brothers on the other side want to use the institution of Parliament to pursue their parochial political interest, because I still find it very difficult when you say you are not going to take part in the appointment process of ministers that the president had selected. You take part in vetting, but when the report goes to plenary, you abstain. I find it a very difficult.
We are going to vote against it. We never said that.
But that's a question.
Yes,
asked.
but you see, if you are going to vote against it, you don't even need to announce it.
But
you only have to raise that objection when it gets to plenary. When you push it to a secret ballot, you push it to a secret.
You think that they are doing something untoward?
Oh, it is just using the institution of Parliament as usual to serve their parochial interest. And that is one thing that I adore. I mean, that is one thing that pains me, that for an institution of Parliament, the role Parliament has to play in our development trajectory, for you to have an opportunity to go to Parliament to serve the people of Ghana, and for you to use it to pursue your political interests rather than look at the bigger interest of the people of the nation. It is something that we have to move away from. I expect that the report will be taken sometime this week, and I am sure that even when I was in Parliament and the numbers were stacked against the minority then, or still the minority, 169 against 106, they had pushed some appointments to secret ballots. Amongst them, Otiko Jabba, I recollect there was also a minister from the Bono area at the time. We had to not chairman. There was a lady.
Yes.
There was a lady minister,
right.
regional minister. I think those were the significant votes that we took in Parliament over 4 years, and it's not going to be different. I expect that the report will be taken sometime this week, and then we'll go through the motions in Parliament.
Johnnie,
yes,
it's amazing when my brother would make this and attribute the NDC's decision to be just hiding behind.
It's politics as usual.
Okay,
for you.
Well, if it is politics, then we learn it from you. As a matter of fact,
you're learning politics from us.
Yeah, if it is, if you think
okay,
that,
take note of that, Johnnie.
If it is
I'm taking
politics,
note.
Take note of that.
If abstaining is, we are learning from you. First and foremost, I have just indicated that in 2012, when we won the elections, your side refused to participate in the vetting.
Mutala, you have to get closer to the mic.
So you are doing politics. Two, in this Parliament, on the issue of the Senja motion, your General Secretary wrote a letter directing your parliamentary caucus not to participate in the debate. You walked out. Again, on the issue of the e-levy. Well, let me finish. The Senja motion against the Minister for Finance. Your National Secretary issued a letter. Yes, directing your parliamentary caucus. It was directing your parliamentary caucus, your members of parliament. Yes, there was a
yes, he wrote a letter to you.
No, he wrote a letter to your caucus, and then a statement was even subsequently issued
at Aliza Hotel.
Yes, and a statement was issued that they should not participate in the debate. Again, on the issue of the elections of the Speaker,
then General Secretary was a constant feature in Parliament.
You just raised an issue, and I'm telling you that if that is so bad,
you're not chairman, then General Secretary. It was a constant feature in Parliament.
Are we talking about? We are talking about
whipping people in line. And he found himself, even for the first time, not a general secretary of a political party, the size of the NDC, and now a chairman, even on the parliamentary service board. And that's something we have been
told him something.
It's never happened.
I told him something on TV. There is a popular Dagomba proverb that Naza Numpoma Chanda na to kwai. I bought Nini Buhana, Lanisha, you are vrei.
To wait.
That when you take carcass, a rotten meat, to sell at the center of the market, you'd have to make a lot of noise and talk a lot for people to even have the time to ask you how much you are selling them. That is precisely what he is doing. You have just made a statement and said that we are hiding behind Parliament to engage in something that, and I'm just giving you examples. Not last 10 years or what you have done. So it is not a novelty. This is not the first time such is being done. But the difference between what we are doing and what you did is that we are not even running away from Parliament. We are engaging in the debate. But you see, he says that as patriotic citizens, we shouldn't do that. Let me remind him. Your tradition, you boldly and gleefully told me how your father was a UP. My grandfather was one of the founding fathers of the UP tradition, the 12 Nayako.
So why did you?
The more I read about Ghana's political history and growing up, the more I distance myself from that tradition. But I'm saying that the UP...
You're distancing yourself from your grandfather. Be very careful what you're saying.
I'm saying the more I read...
You're distancing yourself from what's your ideals of your grandfather.
Made a statement on the floor. And then I was going to contribute.
Mutala, are you saying that you are distancing yourself from the ideals of what your grandfather told for?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I don't believe in the ideals that my grandfather stood for.
Of your grandfather?
Why? Is it religion or is politics?
Okay.
So I am just telling him.
I'm sure you took your religion from him.
Then even on the
you took your religion from him.
I don't
because of that. You were Muslim because he was a Muslim.
I haven't taken religion from I haven't taken religion from anybody. I took religion from Allah. But I'm saying that even when Abib made a statement on him, I mean, very intelligent chief whip. That the Akub tell everybody, I contributed, and people didn't understand. That is my maternal grandfather. But I'm saying that your tradition. Your tradition voted against the motion of destiny.
Right.
The motion that occasioned the independence of Ghana.
Right.
You voted against it. As a matter of fact, Abuzia led a team to Britain and told the Queen that we are not interested in independence. It is a group of charlatans who are interested in independence.
Remember that before the leader of the CPP came here, the independence movement had already started.
UGCC was just a group.
UGCC was a group.
It was not even a political party.
And CPP was what?
But let me also remind you,
CPP was what? A terrorist organization.
I listen to you.
No, you saying
it was not a political party.
UGCC was a group.
CPP was disbanded.
A terrorist organization.
It was even disbanded before the 1954 elections. So get your history very well. In 1992, when we were drafting this constitution, let's forget of even the decades. The constitution that occasioned the democracy we have today, not the independence. They said it was a group of charlatans who wanted independence. They voted against the motion of destiny. They are not interested. The fourth Republican Constitution.
Right.
When we were at the Consultative Assembly, the NPP and the UP tradition and its elements.
Was there an NPP then?
I'm saying that the UP tradition and its elements.
Was there an NPP then?
I said the UP tradition. I'm very careful what I say. When we begin to say NDC and PNDC are the same.
So
when the NDC,
UP, MPP.
So when they always say that NDC and PNDC are the same. Meanwhile, NDC and PNDC are two distinct groups. But you are saying that
it's the same people.
So what is good? So what is good for the goose is good for the gander. So when I also make reference to him, he should accept that I'm saying this constitution. When the Consultative Assembly was meeting or constituted to draft a constitution, you made a public statement. You are not interested in sitting around a table with fishermen, with traders, with journalists, with nurses. You believe in the bow and the bourgeoisie. You felt that they were indecent. They were indecent people, fishers, teachers, nurses, journalists. You didn't have time to sit with them. You never participated. You never participated in the drafting of this constitution. So when we talk about this constitution, you just need to keep quiet.
When you say we, what do you mean we? What do you mean we? Was the UP tradition invited to the Consultative Assembly at the time? Was the NPP in existence who have been even invited to the Consultative Assembly at the time?
You see the logic.
It is not. If the association had abstained from partaking in there, why do you want to attribute that to the UP and the NPP?
NDC cannot isolate itself from PNDC.
That is a reality. That is a reality.
I mean, they taught the people of this country how to use a gun to rule these people.
You will not agree.
That's a reality.
Let's listen to it.
How was a UP tradition invited?
Thank you.
Was the NPP invited and they sent it down?
Yes, you are invited.
They didn't. They didn't. They couldn't.
Because
they were not organizations.
Let's hear the German ambassador to Ghana.
And then you want to talk.
As I said, it will be in the framework of existing cooperation, and we might be willing to consider some additional funds to be added. I mentioned the important part of vocational training, because competitiveness is about skilled labor and quality of the workforce, especially if you look at competitiveness in the region. So that's an important part of
3FM Maiden Gobe Festival. See you there.
Nice.
This is my lunch today. This is Gobe. Plantain, there's beans, all mixed up nice. Let's go, let's go.
Gobe, Kubani. 3FM Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe. 3FM. Gobe. 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 Go, 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 go. Gobe. It's Gobe. Gobe Festival. Gobe. Gobe. Gobe.
Let's go, let's go.
Kubani. 3FM Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe. 3FM. Gobe. 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 Go, 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 go. Gobe. It's Gobe. Gobe Festival. Gobe. Gobe. Gobe.
Let's go, let's go.
Gobe. Gobe. Kubani. 3FM Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe. 3FM. Gobe. 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 Go, 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 go. Gobe. It's Gobe. Gobe Festival. Gobe. Gobe.
Let's go, let's go.
Gobe. Kubani. 3FM Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe. 3FM. Gobe. 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 Go, 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 go. Gobe. It's Gobe. Gobe Festival. Gobe. Gobe.
Let's go, let's go.
Kubani. 3FM Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival. Gobe. 3FM. Gobe. 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 Go, 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 go. Gobe. It's Gobe. Gobe Festival. Gobe. Gobe.
Let's go, let's go.
Gobe. Kubani. 3FM Gobe Festival. Gobe Festival.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnnie Hughes, Helen Apiampofo, William Asiedu,
and Noble Crosbyan.
Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7. Your urban.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Patriot. Should I call him Patriot too?
I mean, he can decide to
He
take
can
his
decide to
titles,
take it if he wants to. The German ambassador to Ghana says he can't go out there asking for help for us if we are not willing to cut down on our appetite and taste. What do you say? Because I'm asking you this question also because you work with the finance minister. I said former finance minister. As a former worker with the finance minister, a data bank. You're a big man. Ghana's deputy finance minister, who never is at this point, but who will be very, very soon. What do you say? Are you holding on Facebook?
I think that the government itself is not shying away from the fact that we find ourselves in a situation where we on our own, we also have to make some sacrifices. And it was very clear when we went through this DDP processes. The government itself has come out to say that at those points in time, we need to also actually rationalize a lot of the things, and it's very evident that before we can go out there to ask for help from our partners on our own, we also have to show some willingness to be able to do something about our situation. It is one of the reasons why we had to do this domestic debt exchange program first. And then so when we go out there, we're going to show to our partners that on our own, this is what we have done to our debt levels to ensure that we get to the projected sustainable levels down the line. And so not limiting it to just the DDEP. If you look at page 57, 58, 59, and page 60, it is full of expenditure policies that the government announced in November. Some of them have been running for a while, and will continue to rationalize it since we have already identified that the main cause of where we are now, it's our fiscal policies.
Is the government
that is what
cutting
we are
down
doing.
anything?
Of course, it doesn't necessarily have to be a cut, but we have to rationalize our expenditures.
Cut so that we can
see
there
have been significant things that have happened in this country over the last year or so. Notable in there is the passing of the Exemptions Act. Exemptions have been one of our leakages in a long time, and people think that if we are able to rationalize that regime alone, we are going to save billions of cedis. And that this government has been able to do. Thankfully, the likes of Comrade Mutala in Parliament supported the act, and we have it in place. So now, for anybody to go to Parliament to ask for an act, to ask for an exemption, you have to meet the requirements under the act. And all of this has been rational. Like I said, and I referred you to pages 57, 58, and 59. There's quite a number of them. MMDAs, the fact that everybody has to use gift meals, the fact that you have to even upload your budget, it means that no expenditure can happen at that level without it going through the vetting processes.
We are asking the MMDAs in the Volta region to pay 20,000 cedis towards Ghana 66.
Ghana at 66.
Yes, there's a letter there written by Mr. Witi on behalf of the regional minister and the Volta Regional Coordinating Council to pay 20,000. I have that letter.
I am not too.
And then I'm asking the question. We're asking for people to come to our aid, forgive us our debt. And it doesn't look like we are cutting down anything.
I am not too sure how those things work, but I know that the celebration of 6 March takes place in all districts. And once the national celebration is going to hold, I gather, I take it that they are taking the national celebration, and so perhaps the district. I don't know the budgeting systems and all of that. But it is a case that when I was member of parliament and I was a member of the assembly, when we have done our budgets, we've taken all of that into consideration. So I don't know how out of place, but essentially what I'm saying is that we are beginning to have a software in place, which is a gift mix, and necessarily all expenditures have to be rationalized. It's been there for years, but compliance has been very low. At this stage, we are ensuring that people are getting on and using gift mix such that if your budget is not uploaded, you cannot even approve of any expenditure at the MDAs. We have had directives like the cuts down of 30% of salaries of government appointees.
Where's the money?
We have looked at
where's the money.
Obviously, it is not too difficult to be able to verify.
The government should be able to tell us where the money is.
This is a government that actually passed the RTI. RTI had been in like 4 parliaments before then. If you need the details,
fully operational. I will tell you this as a journalist.
I wish you said it was not operational. It is a law. It's an act. Somebody's in charge. There's a secretariat in charge. There's a secretariat in charge that has to ensure that RTI works. Johnny, unless of course, Johnny, you are telling me that you have tried to push this RTI. RTI that is not operational. I mean, when the act was passed, there was a watershed time, and I expect that.
I'm saying, ask my editor here. There are still offices we go to that do not have RTI offices. Ally.
Well, no, the offices need RTI. You will have an RTI secretariat. That will take whatever application you have and ensure.
I don't need to go to the RTI secretariat if I want to go to the Ministry of Trade to make an RTI request of them. And I'm saying in most of those places, you actually do not even have RTI offices there. Recently, Fourth Estate and another media house, they asked for information, and then the people refused. They said they actually do not have the information to give them.
From where?
Oh, one of the institutions, I've forgotten, Fourth Estate, Manasseh and his people, Media Foundation for one of the institutions, I've forgotten, it's gotten out. But they asked for information. They said they didn't.
What specifically did they ask for from where? If we can do this, then we can.
They were running an investigation. But I'm suggesting
let's look at the specifics, Johnny, rather than us having a. But I'm telling you that this is a government that through the process of being able or trying to be as transparent as possible in its finances. And on top of this, I'm always proud to say that, look, this is a government that is the first government to actually operationalize the Public Financial Management Act, and it is one of the best legislations we have. It's brought a lot of transparency into our public finances than any other time in our history. And these are things that we have to contend with.
I hear you. Do you think that your former boss, the finance minister, is the competent one to handle the economy at this time?
I do believe in the capacity and capabilities of
there is this video on social media.
I do. This yeah, if you say no, the party has not asked. There are elements within the party that do not agree. The party has not at any point. The party has not at any point. The party has not at any point asked Ken Ofori-Atta to leave office. The party, no. There are elements within the party who have disagreed with the opinion of the president on his appointment. That's fine. And that is what we are.
Believe that is what we are. That Ken Ofori-Atta is competent.
I am saying that for the Ken Ofori-Atta that I know, he has what it takes, and he has shown. If you look at his record when he assumed power in 2017, if you look at 2018, if you look at 2019, he has an excellent track record, and he has proven that he has what it takes.
We're talking about now. To take it. I mean, we're talking about now. Is he the right person to be at post now as finance minister now? The way things are, and the calls on him from the caucus.
Why not?
MPP. Everybody's asking him to go.
Why not?
Because, look,
why not? Everybody, not everybody. You probably might have, which is your right, which I cannot take away from you. But I also have the right to support him in office, and that's exactly what I'm doing this morning. Supporting him in office.
So I'm asking you now, if you look at, you worked with him at Data Bank. If you look at how he managed Data Bank and how he's managing the economy, would you say they are equal?
Managing Data Bank is managing a company. The factors you have to manage at every point in time is different from managing an economy like Ghana. Even within Data Bank, at the time, the existing environment, the macro environment that we had to contend with. Look, Data Bank was set up. I mean, the history of Data Bank is very out there for everybody to verify. At the time that he had to come in there, Data Bank was a pace setter in all of this environment, such that legislation had to follow what Data Bank was doing at every point in time, and that is sort of contribution he's made to our economy in the past. And I believe and have absolute confidence in his capacity to be able to steer this boat from these challenging times that we find ourselves in.
Can the man who put us in trouble take us out of trouble?
But he's proven. He started a DDEP program. We had an appreciable results out of that. We are going to the next stage of engaging our external debt holders. And we've already started engagement with the Paris Club. From what I glean, it's going well. He's giving us a date to engage other significant partners like the Chinese. Why do you think we had we had people like the German finance minister come through this economy a couple of weeks ago? Because of the engagement that is happening.
But the Germans say, if you want us to speak for you, cut down on your expenditure.
But I've given you, and I've mentioned, and I've referred to you.
Is the government listening?
I've referred you to. I have referred you to 3 pages within the budget. Page 57, page 58, page 59, and to I think half of page 60, full of measures that the government is running to ensure that we rationalize our expenditure to put our physical health in a better state.
What would it take for the president to cut down on the size of government?
You see, I don't know why people are fixated with cutting down the number of. It's not the first time that we have had 85 ministers in this country. No. And I end this with it. And I end this with it.
Which one?
And I end this with it. And the president has shown a lot of magnanimity. Can you imagine? In a very long time, we've had deputy regional ministers.
Don't let him get away with it.
No, that's why you're here.
In the last couple of years, we've always had deputy regional ministers. Can you imagine if we had 16 more deputy regional ministers in there? Would have taken the numbers to over 100. But the president has shown.
Why is it difficult for the president to listen listen to the people and say cut down on the size. Like, why is it difficult? This is a man who begged us for power.
I am saying that. Look, it is not a case that the framers of the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution, it is not for nothing that they did not put a cap on the number of ministers.
Not less than 19.
That is for cabinet.
But then
that is for cabinet. But the president has a free hand to, at any point in time, appoint and disappoint as many people with the capacities that he determines that will help him to run his government to the benefit of every Ghanaian.
You believe in scripture. Scripture says all things are available to you, but not everything is permissible. You believe in scripture.
That's certainly.
So the president,
from where we sit, from the point that I sit, from where you sit, the way you see things, it might be different from the way the president wants to see things. Because of what is available to him. Because of the information available to him. So it is not a case of because Johnnie thinks that president should run 60 ministers, it essentially means that he should run 60 ministers.
You and I will run our private business with our private money. The president is running the country on my taxes. He cannot do as he pleases.
He cannot do as he pleases. It is not for nothing. It is not for nothing that he has a free hand to form a government the size and capacity of which he thinks is necessary to govern this country at every point in time.
Who advises the president?
Who advises
him? Does he listen to advice at all?
The president has advisors.
Yeah, the advisors.
And he's a very listening president. That reacts
so
to
when
what
he
Ghanaians
sleeps,
are
he
saying.
lies down to sleep, he sleeps.
Johnnie, that's a question that why if a human being does not sleep, you will die. If you don't sleep, you will die. You know it.
Mutala, we have to wrap up at this point.
Oh no, but
the president has been spoken to. Hussein Issa believes that the finance minister is the best man for the job at this point.
Well, first and foremost, when I was watching my good brother,
for
a moment I thought I was watching the Cartoon Network. Because in the cartoon,
That is how they are. That is how disrespectful they are. Which of the cartoon characters?
I did the little
Koliko or what? You're referring me to a Koliko.
Not you.
Thank you.
That's not fair to him.
Thank you. That is how disrespectful they are. You are calling me Koliko today because of my team. Yes, but what is a cartoon?
Inga is called Koliko.
That is what you see me. I thought you saw me as human.
Not you. I
thought you saw me as human who has an opinion.
Can I finish?
Whose views are guaranteed under the Constitution as a Ghanaian to be able to express how I feel or how I think about issues. Now you are calling me a cartoon. Thank you.
I was watching a Cartoon Network because in the cartoon world, everything is possible.
What exactly?
Because he was saying things that are unfathomable and therefore could not be possible in the real world.
Cartoon Lisa.
So that's the point I was making. So I was just making reference to him as a cartoonist.
That he's making everything possible.
Exactly. In one breath, he talked about the fact that when you ask him about the RTI, RTI as a deputy minister for information, we started working on it, and I worked on it extensively.
And where did you take it?
Hold on. By the time, I will give you an example.
I don't know.
By the time we went into the 2012 elections, the RTI was virtually done. There were some challenges that were raised by people. And I remember when we came back in 2013, that issue came up again. We worked on it. I'll give you an example. International Trade Facilitation Bill, International Trade Commission Bill, MPP started it in 2000. You couldn't finish. Once the life of that parliament ends, that bill you have to restart again. But usually you don't restart. You just come and continue from where you stop. So it makes it easier for you to complete.
Actually, I saw 4 parliaments before us.
The government he's talking about, who did it? Was it not the NDC? He's talking about transparency. And the reason why I'm shocked was when he said that there's no one
anyway
in MPP asking the minister to because why? You had 90 members. No, apart from that.
95.
Apart from the 95. Honorable Chairman Sabunsu subsequently granted an interview and said it was a caucus decision.
That's right.
So it means that the entire MPP caucus supported the call for the minister to either resign or be made to jump. So the party and Karen, you cannot tell me that parliamentary caucus is not an important arm of your party structure. In fact, it is the most important arm of your party structure, because that is where you have a true representation of all your people in parliament. So clearly, the NPP, when he said that there are NPP themselves are against the minister, it took only my good friend. Maybe perhaps because he has actually worked with Data Bank. I know him
because
because
I'm
The Ken that he knows.
Because I'm a colleague.
Because you call, if you take.
But those are your words. You call me a cartoon.
If you take this at heart, I sincerely apologize.
Of course, I take it at heart because I won't wake up from my house to come and sit in a studio to be referred to as a cartoon. You know the origins of a cartoon. Cartoons are drawn.
So he has
they have no souls. They are not human. But that's exactly what you're saying. That when I was talking, you thought that you were watching Cartoon Network. I think it's an insult of the highest order. In fact, at the point I felt like walking out. For the respect I have for it, I would have walked down. It is not funny. I don't think
he has apologized.
I will not call you a cartoon. You know it. I have met you so many times. I will not call you a cartoon.
I haven't called you a cartoon. I am sorry.
On behalf of everybody here,
he has apologized. We're sorry. We're sorry.
It is very disrespectful for him to call me a cartoon.
I'm sorry.
When I'm expressing, you ask me a question. If I had not come into this studio for you to ask me a question, I would not have expressed myself. And for him to call me a cartoon, what the hell does?
We are sorry. We're sorry. No.
Isa.
Okay.
I was joking to you as a Mosi man, so sit down.
And he's still laughing over it.
No.
It's vexation. It's vexation.
Isa and I are playmates, and he knows that. He knows.
We playmates, but I will never call you in your face.
I say I am sorry.
On air. On a platform, I will not call you.
I apologize to you.
That is very disrespectful.
We apologize.
It's our apologies.
I take it as exception. I won't relate it. Very disrespectful.
My apology, you won't accept.
You go on.
No, if you accept my apology, if you accept my apology, then I won't comment on this.
The fact that
do you accept my apology?
He has accepted.
He has
accepted your apology. That's why he's free.
Apologies.
Yes.
Apologies.
Honestly, I never meant you.
Yeah.
Figurative statement, you can make any statement. Right. I was never referring to you as a person.
Let's move on.
I want him to have that in mind. And Allah knows what was in my mind. Yes. I never meant you as a cartoonist, no. I said I was watching as if I was. It is not about you. When someone says that you behave like this, it doesn't mean that you are so. So I'm surprised that he takes it at heart.
It's okay. Let's wrap up the conversation.
Even on the program this morning, he used certain words on me. I was normal because he was playing with me. I knew that he never meant it on TV. This one, we are even on radio. On TV, he asked him. He used certain words, and I never took offense because
if I say the words that I use.
Can we just
let me read a few messages on Facebook.
I am sincerely, unreservedly apologize to Honorable Isa. I never meant it. But can I make my
point? He has apologized. Hold on. He has apologized.
Johnnie, continue.
He's not even accepting my apology.
Oh no, he has, because he's sitting.
Have you accepted my apology?
But he has said that he has accepted.
No, he hasn't.
It's okay.
Because the Isa I know, I was expecting that once I say apologize, so that's fine.
A few comments.
Actions speak
louder than words. So the point I'm just making is that look, this minister, it is very clear.
Action is clear.
It is very clear that this minister has not achieved anything successful. The objective of every minister and every government is to improve the living conditions of your people. This minister said that the banking sector had the liabilities of 7 billion. He ended up spending 25 billion.
Right.
Now, as a result of the 25 billion, nothing positive came out from the banks. We have been told
there's a new development.
We have been told
that's a positive.
We have been told that some of the banks are even on their knees. And two, several people lost their jobs. Some lost their lives as a result of this. A man who said that he and the wife had to divorce because he could no longer take care of the woman because he was working with one of the financial institutions which was collapsed by this government. Two, unemployment, this minister and this government took it from 6.8% to 17.4%. Debt to GDP, you took it from a little over 60% to now over 90%. The CD to the dollar, you took it at what? 3.4. Today, how much is the CD to the dollar? We have even lost count. It increased up to 16 cedis per dollar. Now, it is around 12, 13 cedis.
13.5.
13.5. That is where you have taken it. Inflation, you took it from 15%. Inflation is over 50% today. So tell me one single story. President Mahama borrowed 40 billion. You have borrowed over 400 billion. As of today, you have borrowed 450 billion plus, about 455 billion. Tell me, what is there to show for the 455 billion Ghana cedis that have been borrowed? As a matter of fact, our loans, bonds alone, Euro bonds alone, is $13 billion. Our loans, bilateral loans, is $4 billion. And the loans we owe to China alone is $1.7 billion. China has just given Sri Lanka 2 years moratorium to ease or to create the opportunity for them to access $2.6 or $2.7 billion loan from the IMF. That is what China has done to Sri Lanka. Why is it that China is unwilling to do that to us? So it means that China even has some confidence in the Sri Lanka's economy and how the economy is managed than ours. The only economy that our economy is better than or is competing with is that of Sri Lanka. Yet China is willing to give them 2 years moratorium for them to access loans from the IMF. Yet China is unwilling to do that for us. It took the Minister for Finance from Germany when he visited Ghana to say that he has even asked China to participate in our debt restructuring. China is unwilling to do that. The German ambassador was absolutely right when he said that you cannot be asking us for money when you are not prepared to cut your expenditure.
If not Ken Oforiatta, who?
That is the look. A fish cannot rot except that the rotting starts from the head. And sometimes when Ken Oforiatta is unwilling to go, I don't blame him.
But who else could replace him?
Look, Dr. Bamia, the least said about him, the better. Now, you remember when our colleagues called for Ken to resign?
Right.
The next day, the dollar started coming down.
Right, market response.
Because market responds to speculation sometimes. Now, when the president said he wasn't going, you remember on your program on TV, I said Ken was not moving an inch because Ken is more powerful than even the president.
In fact, you said it here. You were sitting where
wasn't
Wele
moving
was.
an inch.
That he's the most powerful person in government.
He won't go. Now, it is very clear to everybody that Ken is not moving an inch.
But the president said, let him finish the IMF deal. And then we have not finished. So allow.
There's a popular Ghana proverb.
Right.
That you don't stand in the middle of tongues. Whilst trying to move a tongue that has pricked you.
Right.
And that is precisely what
it's called Adamong me Afamong me.
Please be careful what you say because
he's my slave. So I can even use any word on him. I'm surprised.
Because you were telling me
he is my slave. That one, are you denying that one? He's my slave, he knows.
That one is traditional.
He's my slave and he knows.
But we are not in the palace now. So.
No, you don't need to be in the palace. You know Moses, the way they cook yam. Every group of people, if you want to cook yam, you have to peel it and cut it.
Right.
Moses, when they take it from the farm with the sun, you know how yam from the yam, they just put it in water like that and cook.
They don't wash?
Why?
Ask him. Am I the one to answer this question?
But you are the one saying it.
The man is your slave.
So when he eats such a yam and come on the program, you should expect his reaction.
Oh, no.
But I'm saying that, and Kose, they eat yam with Kose. So the point I'm just making, I saw a smile in his face.
Yam with Kose?
Yeah, have you ever seen yam with Kose? That's how Moses do.
I want to eat gobe and Kose on the 4th.
Maybe you should ask them.
Let's wrap up.
So the point I'm just, so with all this, there isn't any success story that this minister can point to. Now, we were all in this country.
Okay.
When Dr. Bawumia told us that the team, the economic team, Professor Jambafo, Ken Oforiatta, you know, he mentioned the names. Today, you realize that Alan Chirmantin is trying to run away from the mess created. And I have said on your program that Alan cannot insulate himself. The only way we can get out of this unacceptable economic quagmire is to boot out these people. Unfortunately, per our constitutional architecture, I say unfortunately per our constitutional arrangement, we can only do that in the next 2 years.
The MPP says,
my frustration.
The MPP says you are not an alternative.
My frustration is how we are going to go through this agony for the next 2 years.
But the MPP says you are not the alternative. The alternative is empty.
At least our debt to GDP was less than 70%. At least dollar to CD was 3.4. At least inflation was 15%. At least unemployment was 6.8. They've taken it to 17.4. At least we didn't borrow 455 billion. We borrowed 40 billion, and there are a lot to show. Okay. It is not far. I can carry my good brother on my back and perhaps manage you in my arm. A rich hospital is not far from this place. Circle Dubai is not far from this place. Even in Accra, the University of Ghana Medical center, UDMC, is not far from this place. In fact, the Bank of Ghana Bank Hospital is not far from this place. The first time I went to the bank, I've been to the bank hospital, was about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. And I was shocked what I saw there. Regional hospitals across the country, in fact, in Ashanti region. And
but the government is doing Agenda 111.
Now, when he said that when you asked him about the 1 million one consensus, he said, there are projects. All those projects he's referring to were projects captured, particularly the roads, under the Ministry of Roads budget. This government told us clearly that they were going to give every constituency $1 million. You haven't been able to do that. Okay. If there is any $1 million that was given to Kai Queen of, I do not know.
We have
Family
to
Center or Nanton constituency where I was, we didn't receive it.
I see. Is that we're wrapping up the conversation?
Yeah, Johnny.
Yes, sir.
We admit that the global economy and, by extension, the Ghanaian economy are not in best of times. It's not for nothing that other economies have recorded inflation figures highest in 40, 50 years. We've seen. In fact, last week I was watching BBC, and there was report of vegetable shortages on some shelves in shops in the UK.
Right.
I can't recollect in living memory where food has been a problem
in
a place like UK. I lived there for 7 years. I cannot recollect. It shows you the times in which we were. Now you're saying if you mention Russia in there, it means that what is happening, the geopolitics in that side of the world is affecting virtually every economy. This is the United Kingdom saying that they are rationing vegetables.
But are we not making
carrots,
too much
cabbages.
excuses?
No, this is
because we have arable lands. We plant these things.
These are realities in which we live. These are factors. We are part of the global economy.
But UK doesn't have planting for food and jobs. We spend over 600 million every year.
Jobs, but over the years, look, if there was anything that was cheap in the UK, it is food. When I first arrived in the UK, at break time, I could buy a whole chicken and sit on the pavement with fresh milk and bread. You see, it was just available. Food had never been a problem. And this is the early 2000s. I'm talking 2001. It was never a problem. It was never a problem. And for them to today think about rationalizing or rationing vegetables, carrots, cabbage. You can't buy as much as you want. These are the realities of the time.
We are not spending in the UK. They don't have plenty for food and jobs, so they spend 600 million. The
reason we had to run a program. The reason we had to do a program like Planting for Food and to ensure that we had the food security at the point where UK was.
But are we secure?
Oh, it's a process. All of these things, I keep telling you, it's a process. We didn't bring Planting for Food and Jobs and think that over 2 years,
I hope that we have enough beans to enjoy on the 4th of March when we have our
Honorable
Gobe
Brian
Festival.
Echampo was adverting. He was telling us how Planting for Food and Jobs have even affected the yields that we get from maize production, the yields from rice, and it's on record. You can check, and this is why we have invested so much in programs like that. And we'll continue to do until we have the food security that we really need.
Don't allow him to escape with it. The yield is down. We are now spending over $2 billion importing rice and poultry products into this country under President Mahama. No, maize. I don't even want to. Under President Mahama.
When I say yield,
we were spending.
When I say yield, I mean the production per acre of
but if it increase, we shouldn't be spending
and
more.
all of that.
I hear you.
It's what it is. That data is public knowledge. I mean,
gentlemen, we have to go.
You can go on and say that is why we have to go.
Thank you very much.
President Mahama was incompetent. We were spending a little over $500 million importing rice and poultry products. Today, we are spending over $2 billion.
Thank you. Lawa Ingo, I see you on Facebook. Ni Manche Lageden, I see you also on Facebook. Vincent Shah Hiamle, I see you on Facebook, and the Truth Teller, I see you on Facebook. Augustine Belvis, I see you on Facebook. Michael Ray, Annette Jakbasu, and look, gentlemen, on the 4th of March, we have a Gobe Festival. What do you gentlemen feel about Gobe?
No, we the gobe eaters.
The gobe eaters.
We can talk about it.
Okay. Oh no, he eats gobe.
No, he doesn't.
I don't know when.
They mock us. When President Mahama talked of gobe, they mocked us.
Allow him to speak. Is that you eat gobe?
I mean, I'm just going to eat gobe after this.
Gobe is very staple.
Listen to him. He said gobe is staple.
I mean, it's staple.
Major.
I recollect, but for gobe, I don't know how I could have gone through Legon.
Okay.
I mean, in the 90s, I mean, if you hit it with a little rice, it could sustain you from morning to night. Until you go upstairs to eat Davis Banku in the evening. I mean, it's something that is sustain us. And it's probably, we have to.
So your combination is gobe and rice.
I mean, it gives you that
carbon.
And it carries you through the whole day. I mean, it's what we have done over the years. So I'm trying to.
Yes. Microphone, please.
They no longer eat gobe.
No. But do you eat gobe? What's your best combination?
There's a gobe joint at Accra Girls. I even know the joints.
Right.
When you get to Accra Girls,
you branch inside.
You take your left.
Okay.
You know there's another 10 that goes. I always go there to buy gobe.
Oh, there's a gobe.
We the eaters of gobe allow us to talk. Because when President Mahama said gobe should be eaten, they mocked him. They sat on the vice president himself mocked President Mahama for eating gobe. So we the gobe eaters, we can talk about gobe. Gobe should be celebrated. We should have a day for gobe.
We have Gobe Festival coming up on the 4th.
Everybody, those who eat and those who don't.
On 4th of March,
everybody's
at the Chocolate City.
What I'm saying is that we should be having a day.
We're going to have a Gobe Festival.
We should be having a day dedicated for
on the 4th of March.
Yes, we are starting the 4th of March.
That's a Saturday.
Yes. So we're starting the Ghana month with gobe.
I need to go to.
How many days are the gobe going to take?
No, we'll take that one, but it's going to happen.
You should name it Gobe month.
Gobe month.
Yes.
Lois, a 6-2 Gobe month. Note it.
We the Gobe eaters.
Gobe month. Thank you very much, Isa Husseini, former member of parliament for Okankwe North, and also Comrade Murtala Mohammed, patriot. Comrade. Yes, I mean,
you know, any advanced Mosi man wants a Dagomba woman to marry.
Are you bringing family matters into this?
Any advanced Mosi woman wants a Dagomba man to marry.
Bottom line,
they get some respect when they ask you.
I hear you.
Gobe Festival. Gobe. 3 FM. Gobe.